Hey there, I'm Adam Daniels. I'm the coordinator for student orgs here at UCR. And so today, this video is going to cover a lot of updates for student orgs, how things are going for fall, things you should know, things that might be different. I'm here on campus shooting this video, which is very eerie. There is no one here. I miss it, you miss it, but hopefully winter and spring might look a little bit more normal. So like I said, in this video, we're covering a lot of general updates, but there's also some other videos that we're expecting you to watch that are standalone topics. So the two most important, there is a hazing education video, which is required, one person from every org is required to watch it. And then there's a form that they're gonna sign. So you need to do that. Then there's also a healthy relationships / sexual assault prevention video that you also need to watch. So you're gonna watch those videos, you're gonna watch this video. We're including a couple optional videos that may not apply to every student org, so you can watch those if you'd like. And then you're gonna go through, sign the forms, and then there's a quiz to make sure you were paying attention. Those of you that have re-registered the club before, this is very similar, but the topics are going to be different. So the first big update we have is every year, it's a requirement that student orgs meet with their advisor one-on-one. I am just one of our student org advisors. There's a few others. Hopefully you know who they are. You're going to meet with them at some point throughout the year. A lot of you may want to meet with your advisor now because you have a lot of questions, concerns, things you want to talk about in this unprecedented fall quarter. So if you'd like to talk to your advisor, you can either email them directly if you know who they are, or you can email ucrlife@ucr.edu. And you can say, I'm with this club, I either know my advisor, how can I set up a meeting with them, or I don't know who my advisor is, and we can figure it out for you. So that meeting obviously will be over Zoom. We can meet with just one person, we can meet with an entire exec board, we can come to a general meeting, we can do activities, we can do trainings, we can do whatever you need help with, right? Whatever you want us to assist with. Now we also want to promote something that we did last year for the first time, and we were going to use last year as a pilot year to see how it went, but obviously things got shuffled, towards the end of winter quarter. So we're going to try it again this year and just kind of try it out with a few clubs. And this is called the Blueprint for Success program. Last year we had about 25 clubs that would meet with us more regularly. So you have one meeting you have to do. These groups met with us sometimes quarterly, so only 3 or so meetings, and sometimes they wanted to meet monthly. They want to meet more often. They want to make sure that they're going in the right direction. The Blueprint for Success program, your advisor will help you create a list of goals and achievable milestones that, if you reach them, will get you to where you want to be. So for example, you might say this year, it's important that we raise more money for our philanthropy than we've ever raised. So how can we do that? Now we will then help you kind of come up with, okay, so if you want to hit this much money, you need to hit this point by the end of fall quarter. So we will create these action items, and that's just your job to kind of make sure that they happen. And then throughout the years, we touch base. You will give us updates. We can adjust those goals if either you're doing really well or you're not keeping up. But if there's somewhere you want to get to, there's something you want to achieve, membership numbers, fundraising numbers, programmatic, there's something you want to create, you want to create a mentor program. If there's something like that, that makes you a prime candidate for the Blueprint for Success program. This is also good for orgs that maybe have had a rough go, right? The last couple years have not been great, your membership is really down, you're not sure what's going to happen in the future. This might be the last year for your club and you don't want that to happen. So this can help us prepare you and take the year to make sure that your group can stick around. This is also good for brand new clubs. Like, we have never done anything. How do we hit 100 members? And then we will create those action items for you throughout the year to make sure you're going to get there. So if you're interested in the Blueprint for Success program, down in the description, I'm going to link the application form. You're going to put in your information for the club. Ideally, your president or primary officer does this. Put in your information for the club and what sorts of goals you want to achieve, right? So if we want to have a culture show, but we're going to probably do it virtually, how do we still make sure there's hundreds of people there? Or how do we sell tickets to a virtual, culture show? How do we do all this? So you're going to put down your goals for the year, and then we'll help you. So the application is down in the description. For a lot of clubs, your primary focus is probably recruitment, because you're concerned, how are we going to recruit people without tabling here at the bell tower? How can we still get interest? How can we get people to apply for exec board positions? How do we keep the group going forward when things are so sideways? So if you haven't already, we want you to check out our virtual tabling website. So that's where we're hosting videos that all of you have created. Now, not every club has done this. So if you haven't, it's not too late. We've got brand new clubs starting that are going to create commercials. Pre-existing groups that maybe took the summer off and weren't doing anything can now create these videos. So if you haven't already, down in the description, there's a link to kind of the guidelines, what we need, and then how to submit that video to us. So we'll add them basically as we get them. So check out your video, see how it's doing. We have about 10,000 views across the virtual tabling videos, which is pretty good considering an involvement fair. We usually get a few hundred people that would kind of at least hit up enough tables to get the incentives. So views are pretty high. So we're hoping that those people are then finding you. They're finding your social media. They're joining your meetings. They're going to things. We're hoping that that's happening. So that does mean that this year, there's no in-person involvement fairs, and probably next year too. It'll be a while before we can do those big events in a safe way. So we're pushing the virtual tabling, we're pushing social media, so get active on those platforms. As an FYI, we're also probably not going to do the organization awards at the end of the year. That'll probably still be virtual as well. And we had a lot of success last spring that seemed to go really well. We watched it live all together. So we're probably going to do a very similar thing this year. So now let's talk about fall. Unfortunately, campus is going to be like this. There will be a small number of people living on campus, but most everyone else will be remote. So that means you're not going to be doing in-person events or meetings or anything. I know this is going to throw kind of what maybe your plans were off a little bit, but hopefully you've had enough time to at least think of what is our plan B, right? What is the alternative? So for at least fall quarter, nothing. And this includes off-campus events. So if your group gathers at someone's house, that could still be an off-campus event. And conduct is involved and will be filing charges against groups that are doing off-campus activities. So we want everyone to be safe, because the more safe we are, the earlier we can come back here. If you want to see our full statement on what the actual verbiage says and the temporary provision policy that's been put in place, I'll link it down in the description. So we want virtual events and meetings to go as smoothly as possible, since this is kind of your only route. So you can request a Zoom Pro account, which means your meetings can go over 45 minutes and you can have hundreds of people. That's ideal, right? So if you haven't already, one person from the club can apply for this access, and then they would just be the ones to schedule out those meetings. So if you haven't already applied, or you had someone in spring and then that person left, so you need a new person, the application is down in the description. So you can just click on that, put in your info, and then within a week or so, IT will upgrade you to a licensed Zoom Pro account. So you can do that. We also are working with Hub Scheduling to give you Zoom webinar access. And webinar means it's basically presenting something. It's not necessarily whole group talking to each other. So for example, if you're doing a culture show and you just want to present, you want a couple different hosts that have access to talk, you're doing a panel of speakers, but you don't want hundreds of people to be able to, they're unmuted and that's awkward, or they're chiming in, or you just see a bunch of faces and you're like, where's the speaker? Webinar can filter a little bit more, and it's more intended for presenting something to a large group. So if you're interested in Zoom webinar, you're going to work with Hub Scheduling. Again, their website is in the description, and they will kind of schedule that event for you and then give you access to use webinar for that event. So make sure you tap into that. We're also going to be putting out more and more trainings and videos about ways to function virtually. We have the first one out already, which is kind of successful engagement in a virtual environment. So how to use social media, how to do your meetings on Zoom, a little bit more about Zoom webinar, kind of general tips for staying active virtually. We're working on one that should be releasing soon that is fundraising in a virtual environment. So we're working on that. So more and more trainings will come out to help you still have a successful year. Now, there's been a lot of questions about funding because usually what a group is going to spend money on, it's very different now, right? You're not going to be ordering the same sorts of things or paying for the same sorts of things. So how do you tap into that money? So we're going to talk now, we're going to have a little snippet from ASUCR to talk either about general funding and then the different grants that you can apply for. Then we're also going to pass to ASPB to talk about their co-sponsorships. But in a nutshell, there's opportunities with both of these groups to apply for money to pay for speakers and entertainment and panelists. There's more money than ever because those groups also have that allocated funds that they want to give to student orgs, and so they've upped the amounts and the amount of groups that are going to get funding. So you want to be creative about, maybe before we brought in a speaker and it had to be local and had to be fairly cheap, where now with a little bit more money, you're not paying for travel, and so maybe we can pay a speaker from New York to come talk. Maybe we've only brought in reps from local graduate schools, and now we can reach graduate schools across the country. So think big, because now there might be funding to pay for those people, to pay for their time. You know, maybe you can pool money with different orgs to pay for, you know, a celebrity speaker to come. So there's different opportunities now, but you're just going to have to shift your thinking a little bit to different ideas, things you haven't tried. So first we're going to go to ASUCR for a few minutes to talk about their funding opportunities.
Hello everybody, I hope everyone's having a good day today. My name is Will Wang. I'm the Vice President of Finance for ASUCR this year. Another person who I would like to introduce is Maggie Godinez. Maggie is our Organization Funding Specialist for ASUCR. So without further ado, let's get right into the information. So what is ASUCR? ASUCR is our student government, and it basically provides all funding for registered student organizations. Another thing that we do is that we also fund the Bear Den, a place for organizations to meet. But unfortunately, we are currently in a pandemic right now, so the Bear Den is not open. So first, let's talk about general funding. This is the most common funding that we have, and most orgs go for yearly funding for ASUCR. In order for an organization to receive general funding, they have to be an organization that is registered through Student Life. And when you first create an organization, the funding starts at $750 per year. Upon request, it increases 10% every year at a maximum of $3,500 per year. So now let's talk about how you can receive your general funding. So as y'all can see, I made a little flow chart right here to kind of explain everything. So this year, we're going to be doing things a little differently. We're trying to make the whole process more efficient so we can get organizations their funding at a quicker pace. Once you submit your budget through the Google Forms, Maggie and I will first review the budget. If it looks good, we'll review with our committee. And if it gets approved, then this year you will not need to meet with us again for a finance meeting, and your budget will get directly approved. However, it's okay if you have some mistakes, then we will schedule a finance meeting with you to help you fix those mistakes, and eventually we're going to get your budget approved still. Next, let's talk about grant allocations. Grant allocations is basically funds that you can use for your organizations to create an event. And you can request grant allocations on a yearly basis. For grant allocations, the most ASUCR can allocate to different student orgs is $1,500, and to note that banquets and different networking events do not count. Your events will need to be held on campus, and every student organizations need to be able to attend these events. It can't be an exclusive event. For that process, we will also have a Google form on our website where you can submit to meet with us for us to approve your grant allocations. Lastly, we're going to talk about outreach funding. Stay with me. I know we're all tired, but we're nearly there. Outreach funding is funds for an on-campus event that promotes higher education to middle school, high school, and transfer students. One thing to note is that you must have a sponsoring department. And for outreach, the maximum funding is $10,000 a year. Again, if you want to submit outreach funding, you will submit a Google form through our website, and then we will set up an outreach hearing with you to get your event approved. I hope everyone's staying positive during these tough times, and here's our contact information. Here's my email, here's Maggie's email. So if y'all need any help, do not hesitate to reach out to us. We are here to help you succeed. Thank you all for your time, and I'll see all of y'all soon. Bye.
So in ASUCR's video, they talked about events being on campus, but that does also include virtual events. So if you are doing virtual events in fall, those grants and things would still apply. Now, there's some groups that either don't bank with ASUCR or aren't eligible. And so, for example, single gender fraternities and sororities can't bank with ASUCR. Honor societies can't bank with ASUCR. They can go to ASPB. ASPB will help any student organization and any campus department that's doing events they can help fund. So now we're going to hear from ASPB about their process for co-sponsorships.
Yo, Pierre, you want to come out here?
In New York, I merely rock, hiding in my socks, running from a up, and that up.
Hey Highlanders! ASPB wants to let you know that this fall we will still be offering co-sponsorship grants to make all your dream events come true. Do you have a speaker you've always wanted to bring out, or a workshop you think would be really beneficial to our students? If so, ASPB wants to help. Co-sponsorship grant applications open up on September 14th, and all of that information can be found on our website, aspb.ucr.edu, under the co-sponsorships tab. We can't wait to see what you come up with.
So now you have an idea where the money is that you can apply for. Some groups maybe don't need this. Some groups have built-in fundraising or dues, and they're good. So I do want to talk for a second about banking this year. The process to open a bank account is the same. So down in the description, there's a video about how to create a bank account for the first time. So those of you that are maybe brand new orgs, you've never done this, how do you create a bank account? There's a video that walks through it. And then groups that have bank accounts might need our help with getting an updated bank letter so that they can change their signatories. That's something you should be doing sooner the better, but every signatory needs to be able to go to the bank at the same time. So, for example, if your president wants to be a signatory, but they live in the Bay Area, that may make it tough. And so you might need to adjust your signatories to people that are local or able to at least make a day trip out here to go to the bank all together. So if you check down in the description, there's the new bank account video, and then there's the form for asking for a bank letter. So if you need that, fill that out, and then we're mailing those to you. And so you're going to need to list one of those people, and we're going to mail the letter to so that they can take to the bank. They do need a physical signature, so we have to mail you that letter. Speaking of mailing addresses, we are still collecting mail for student orgs. Most of this is not essential for you. You know, you probably don't care about your monthly bank statements. There's a lot of spammy stuff that comes in. But when you get something important, so you get a check, you've done a fundraiser, you get a bill for something, we're going to reach out to you and say, we need to send this somewhere. You can help us make this a quick process by giving us a mailing address up front for, hey, when stuff comes in, mail it to me. Once a week, I come to campus, I grab everything, and then stuff that we have a mailing address for, I'll send out. So if you need or want to update your mailing address, the form is down in the description, and you can let us know. If you don't give us an address, we might reach out to you and say, hey, we got something important. We can either open it and scan it for you. Some people ask for that, especially if it's like a bill. They're like, I don't think we have any bills. What is this? But if we have an address, we'll just send it right back out for you. So that's pretty much it for this first bit. Okay, so those are updates you kind of need to know, but you're going to have a lot of questions. So we want to encourage you to either hit us up on social media, email your advisor, or you can join our new Discord server, which we started last spring, which is a place that you can more quickly get responses from either staff or other student orgs. That you can say, hey, what are people doing with this? How does this work? Does someone want to collaborate on this? And that Discord server is a great place. It's been pretty quiet during summer because not a lot of people are doing anything, but we expect when fall starts, there will be more and more chat going on there. So if you need the invite link to that Discord server, check out down in the description. There's also a video we made about how to navigate that in case you've never used Discord. It's essentially just a message board, but we made a video about the different parts of our student org Discord and how to use it and things like that. So check that out. Email us if you have questions. You can always comment on the video. We'll try to answer. There's a lot of ways for you to get in touch with us. And again, if you want to set up a meeting with your student org advisor soon to talk about fall and how that's going to look, just let them know or email ucrlife@ucr.edu. So thanks for watching. Go watch the other required videos you have to work on, sign those forms, and have a great fall.